The suction was incredibly strong, causing Wang Lin's clothes to cling tightly to his back as they were pulled toward the rift. Even his hair was pointed directly at the rift. His skin visibly rippled with irregular dips and bulges, the result of the suction affecting his blood and flesh. Wang Lin had been sitting cross-legged here for 7 days, gradually adapting to this level of suction. On this day, he opened his eyes, stood up, and took another step forward. This time, his foot landed within a yard of the rift's edge. The immense suction instantly engulfed him, and Wang Lin's body began to lean, as if invisible hands were forcefully pulling him toward the rift. His face darkened as he slowly sat down again, adjusting his inner breath to resist the suction. The flow of blood within his body had nearly come to a halt. Were it not for the operation of his immortal power, his physical body would have been severely harmed by now. Still not enough, Wang Lin murmured after a moment of silence. He relaxed his immortal power, and instantly, his entire body was sucked toward the rift. As he reached the very edge, Wang Lin suddenly tapped his storage pouch. Immediately, the 7-star sword formation shot out as 7 long rainbows, landing like arrows in rapid succession, embedding deep into the ground around him with loud thuds. Electric arcs crisscrossed between the 7 swords, locking Wang Lin to the ground. The surging electric light grew denser, eventually forming a glowing electric barrier that completely enveloped him. Wang Lin sat slowly within the 7-star sword formation. At this moment, he was on the very edge of the rift, and a chilling air surrounded him, while the howling wind echoed through the air. Inside Wang Lin's body, his essence spirit seemed to be drawn outward by the suction. However, the membrane that had troubled him for so long reappeared, trapping his essence spirit within his body and preventing it from escaping. In addition to his essence spirit being drawn out, the killing intent in his divine sense began to manifest almost physically. It was slowly being drawn out, becoming a thin red thread that pierced through Wang Lin's skin. After a long pause, Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and he moved forward by another 3 feet. The 7 swords surrounding him followed suit. The suction grew stronger once again, and a new red thread slowly appeared on Wang Lin's skin. The immense suction targeted the 7 swords, causing them to emit continuous ringing sounds. The sword souls roared out and merged together, shifting constantly as if they had no defined form, battling the suction. In addition, the electric light on the swords crackled louder, drawing the swords closer to the ground, as if they had merged with it and continued to advance forcefully. As Wang Lin moved forward, more red threads appeared on his skin. The threads became so numerous that Wang Lin's entire body seemed to turn a deep red. There were millions of these thin red threads, as many as the seal of life's killing intent. The red threads flickered beneath his skin, and Wang Lin's mind was calm. He took a deep breath. He was now at the very edge of the rift, but still, he couldn't force the killing intent outside his body. It could only be revealed. Looking out at the pitch-black world beyond the rift, Wang Lin's eyes flashed with lightning. In a flash, he saw a stone platform protruding at an angle, 20 feet below the edge, and on it, a well-worn teleportation array. After silently calculating for a moment, Wang Lin leapt and flashed out from the rift. His figure moved like lightning, heading straight for the large stone platform 20 feet away. The 7-star sword formation followed closely, flying out with him. As Wang Lin's body passed the rift's edge, a tremendous suction immediately surged from the bottom of the pit. It was far more powerful than the suction within the rift. In an instant, red threads began to be violently sucked out of Wang Lin's body. As soon as the red threads left his body, they writhed and struggled before transforming into a cloud of red mist, dissipating under the suction. At the same time, the 7-star sword formation spun rapidly around Wang Lin, creating a powerful vortex. A pushing force suddenly emerged, growing larger with the speed of the rotation. Wang Lin, surrounded by the sword formation, took a step toward the stone platform. He was fully focused, not daring to be careless. One wrong move could see him sucked into the bottomless pit. The surrounding cold air was thick and the suction immense, as though countless giant hands were slamming down from above, while others reached up from below, trying to pull him down. The howling sound was the roar and fury of the unseen hands owners. The seven-star sword formation had reached its maximum speed, but the pushing force from its rotation still couldn't fully counter the suction. Wang Lin and the sword formation were immediately drawn downward, at an angle, toward the pit below. In that moment, Wang Lin's eyes flashed. Beneath his feet, in the void, a dark shadow suddenly appeared. This shadow seemed to be tightly connected to Wang Lin's body. After materializing, it swiftly turned, and strange whispers and peculiar hand seals emerged from its mouth and hands. Instantly, the shadow's entire body transformed into a black whirlwind. The powerful impact caused the suction force to momentarily falter. The whirlwind enveloped the sword formation, carrying Wang Lin inside, and spiraled towards a large rock that jutted out not far away. As his feet landed on the stone, Wang Lin exhaled deeply. The sword formation, combined with the immortal guard puppet's divine art, could resist the suction for a short while, but it was not sustainable. Standing on the stone platform, Wang Lin sat cross-legged. He didn't have time to study the formations on it. Instead, he immediately focused on forcing the red threads out of his body. His gaze flickered, and with a wave of his right hand, the puppet-formed whirlwind, like a funnel, was all sucked into the ethereal figure behind Wang Lin, vanishing without a trace. The seven divine swords, in the moment the whirlwind disappeared, began to spin rapidly around Wang Lin's body. Without the whirlwind, Wang Lin once again felt the overwhelming, indescribable suction force. In this force, he gritted his teeth, veins bulging on his face in a grimace. The red threads on his skin were immediately drawn out, some of them almost completely pulled out, as if they had a life of their own, struggling fiercely. But in the end, they couldn't withstand the suction and detached from Wang Lin's body. With several dull thuds, they dissipated into red mist. Around Wang Lin's body, it seemed as though countless red hairs had grown, with large amounts of red threads being pulled halfway out, twisting and writhing. This scene was incredibly eerie. As each red thread was drawn out and dissipated into red mist, new ones immediately appeared to take their place, the cycle never stopping. It was unclear how much time had passed, but slowly, Wang Lin's skin started to show patches of its natural color, no longer entirely red. He took a deep breath, suddenly opening his eyes. The ethereal figure behind him materialized, transforming into a whirlwind that roared and enveloped him. Wang Lin took a step and headed straight for the rift. After stepping into the rift, Wang Lin found himself in a place without the suction force. He felt as though he had fought a late-stage cultivator for 10 days and nights, utterly drained. During the previous days, while resisting the suction, Wang Lin had to channel his energy to fight it off, control the seven-star sword formation, expel the red threads, and constantly use his immortal power to reinforce his body and prevent being sucked off the stone platform. All of this combined had exhausted Wang Lin. He knew that if he continued any longer, even the slightest mistake could lead to disaster. Deciding to rest, he took the time to adjust his inner energy. After a short recovery, he would continue his journey. After a brief adjustment, Wang Lin's gaze flickered. He manipulated the seven-star sword formation, and with a step, he exited the rift once again. Months passed. On this day, in the 4th year of Wang Lin being trapped in this forbidden land, he sat cross-legged on a large stone deep within the pit. A red thread trembled on the skin of his right hand. Under the suction force, it let out an unwilling cry, then detached from his fingertip and turned into red mist. This was the last red thread in his body. The moment it was expelled, Wang Lin opened his eyes. His face showed exhaustion, but his eyes flashed with a cold light. Slaughter immortal art. He had been silent for a long time. The coldness in his eyes gradually faded as he lowered his head, his gaze falling onto the teleportation array beneath him. After a brief glance, Wang Lin closed his eyes and ignored it, quietly sitting there, feeling the suction force around him. To truly understand the subtle changes of the suction force, he had to merge with it. To learn it, he must let go of his mind and stop resisting, becoming completely transparent, allowing the suction to pass through his body. Day after day, year after year, Wang Lin sat like this for 3 years. The seven stars sword formation no longer rotated but pierced into the ground, settling around him. Wang Lin seemed to merge with the stone. In the beginning, the suction made his body tremble slightly, but gradually, it seemed like Wang Lin had become invisible, with the suction force passing through his body and continuing onward. Time passed, and another 3 years went by in the blink of an eye. The suction passed through Wang Lin's body without pause, emerging from his body and rushing upwards. Even his clothes and hair remained completely still, no longer pulled by the suction like 3 years ago. Not only was Wang Lin's body unmoved, but so was his mind, as calm as an ancient well. Throughout these 6 years, as the suction flowed through every part of his body, Wang Lin gradually sank into a strange state. He felt as though he had completely vanished. It was precisely because of this disappearance that the suction force no longer affected him. However, the primordial spirit within his body was the one thing the suction force could not penetrate. Because of this, Wang Lin always felt an incomplete sensation in that strange state. He could make the suction force pass through his body. He could merge his body with the suction force, but he could not fully merge his primordial spirit, his body and mind, with the suction force. But Wang Lin wasn't anxious. He calmly sensed the suction force and, in that strange state, slowly spread his primordial spirit. 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. Wang Lin had been trapped in this deep pit for 15 years. Even on the large stone, he had sat for 11 years. His primordial spirit still could not fully disperse and merge completely with the suction force. In the 17th year of Wang Lin's stay in this place, he opened his eyes. A trace of vicissitude appeared in his eyes as he calmly gazed ahead. When the mind and suction force merge, there should be no feeling of rejection. To comprehend the suction force, to truly merge with it, one must become a part of it. I must become the suction force itself. Naturally, that would be the merging. Wang Lin fell silent. He had thought of this years ago, but as easy as it sounded, actually doing it was incredibly difficult. How could he become the suction force itself? He had no clue. The howling sound that had echoed for 17 years in his ears was something Wang Lin had long grown accustomed to. The howling was the sound of the suction force. Wang Lin took a deep breath and closed his eyes. Go down. The voice of the woman echoed in his primordial spirit again. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes, sparks of lightning flashing from his gaze. He lowered his head and looked down at the darkness below. The light in his eyes grew brighter and brighter, and at the peak of its brilliance, the light disappeared. Wang Lin slowly stood up, his body that had not moved for 13 years now taking a step forward. With that step, he didn't use any divine abilities. Instead, like an ordinary person stepping into the void from a cliff, his body immediately fell, swallowed by the darkness of the deep pit below. Wang Lin's body plummeted rapidly, and during this process, he closed his eyes. The suction force surged into his body, transforming into hands that grabbed everything and fiercely yanked him down. As he fell, the cold aura grew denser, and even the cliff walls beside him were covered in frost. Wang Lin paid no attention to any of this. His entire mind was immersed in that strange state. The only thought in his mind was to transform himself into the suction force. Merge with the suction force. Become the suction force. Become the suction force. In that instant, Wang Lin's primordial spirit exploded with countless thunderous sounds, the suction force piercing through his flesh, frantically merging with his primordial spirit and coursing through it. At this moment, Wang Lin opened his eyes. Though his body continued to fall, a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He took a deep breath, and incredibly, his body stopped in midair during the fall. The suction force flowed through his body without any obstruction. His primordial spirit, his flesh, everything about him, merged completely with the suction force. He had become a part of it. Looking down at the bottom, there was no end, only an endless abyss, like the endless netherworld, capable of devouring everything into a world of unknown existence. It is time to leave. My third technique of the Tao heart is the power of the netherworld. Wang Lin looked up, slowly rising. Go down, please, go down. The woman's voice in his primordial spirit carried emotion for the first time. Please, go down. Take me down. The voice was filled with sorrow and urgency. Wang Lin remained silent. This voice that had been gone for 13 years echoed in his mind again. During the 13 years of contemplating the suction force, the woman had remained silent. But now, her words carried an emotional change. He wiped his storage pouch, and a painting scroll flew out, emitting a soft glow. The suction force had no effect on it. The scroll unfurled, revealing the woman's back. For the first time, Wang Lin seriously looked at the woman in the painting scroll. Though only her back was visible, she exuded an aura of unmatched elegance. "Please, take me down. I cannot leave this painting scroll. You won't be in danger. I just want to see you." Wang Lin remained silent, not saying a word. "I cannot help you, nor can I give you anything. I only beg you, help me, take me down." Wang Lin looked down again. Below, there was only darkness, and a cold aura emanated from it, filled with thick frost. "I can't help you. If you wish to leave, just go." Wang Lin shook his head, not looking at the painting scroll. His body began to rise, as there were too many things for him to do. The restrictions within the cave mansion must all be undone before Tian Yunzi and the others arrived in the land of demonic spirits, so he could enter the true cave mansion. Although he didn't know when Tian Yunzi and the others would arrive, his conversation with Yao Shishiwa had provided him with a clue. Their arrival was likely imminent. Before they came, Wang Lin had to make a series of preparations. Time was running out for him. He couldn't afford to waste any on curiosity. Moreover, he needed to ensure that Tian Yunzi didn't catch on, so he could leave the land of demonic spirits without trouble. If any part of this plan went wrong, the cost would be his life. Time was too short for him. The woman in the painting scroll trembled slightly. She tried to turn around, but it seemed as though a layer of seal was controlling her. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't move. As Wang Lin continued to rise higher, nearing the point of vanishing, the woman seemed to grit her teeth and whispered, "Don't you want to know the true origin of the bead in your primordial spirit?" Her voice was faint, but Wang Lin heard it clearly. It was as though 1,000 thunderous booms rang in his ears, and his body came to an abrupt stop. "Don't you want to revive the lingering soul of the woman within that bead?" If the first sentence was like the explosion of 1,000 thunderous roars beside Wang Lin, then this second one was like the roar of millions, even tens of millions, of thunderbolts tearing through the sky, shaking not only his body, but also his primordial spirit. His primordial spirit, his memories, everything. At the moment those words came, it felt as though an overwhelming flood had erupted. The entire world seemed to collapse around him, and despite his deep cultivation, his body couldn't help but tremble. He turned around, staring at the woman. His gaze was wild, like a beast, abandoning any trace of the calmness he'd held for over 800 years of cultivation. In that instant, everything, the Tian Yunzi, the cave mansion, the blood ancestor, the land of demonic spirits, all collapsed, shattering into pieces. Between heaven and earth, in the deep pit, only one crazed gaze remained, coming from Wang Lin, staring at the woman. "What did you say?" His hoarse voice, carrying an unfamiliar tone, escaped his lips. Just 4 simple words, yet they conveyed an indescribable feeling. In that moment, it seemed even the howling winds that had persisted for countless millennia grew weaker. "I can tell you the origin of that bead. I can tell you how to revive the soul inside the bead. I can even give you the chance to leave this place." The woman's voice was soft. Wang Lin closed his eyes. He didn't want to consider whether her words were true or not, and he didn't want to know why she knew everything about him. He didn't want to. When he opened his eyes again, Wang Lin said nothing. With a single step, he grabbed the painting scroll and flew swiftly toward the bottom of the deep pit. Even if there was a slim chance, he would fight for it. There's always one thing in a person's life that, no matter how smart or calm they are, they will collapse in an instant when it comes to it. Even in the face of endless danger, when it's about life and death, they must stubbornly pursue it. Wang Lin was, after all, still human. He wasn't the cold immortal, nor was he the heartless god. After over 800 years of cultivation, Wang Lin's calmness had deeply ingrained itself into his bones. It had become instinct. He could coldly leave a merciless storage pouch for Zhou Ru of Vermilion Bird Star, waiting for the day she would open it. He could calmly face any enemy, no matter how powerful, without it ever shaking his Tao heart. But there is a force that can shatter this instinct. Only in the moment of loss does one realize how much they truly wanted to possess something. Only after losing it do they understand how precious it was. A person who remains calm and rational throughout their entire life, without any emotional turmoil. Can they still be called human? Wang Lin couldn't do it. Gripping the painting scroll, a look of sorrow appeared in his eyes, like a meteor, shooting toward the bottom of the deep pit. At this moment, he didn't want to think, didn't want to discern anything. The woman in the painting sighed deeply, her voice faint. Don't worry. I'm not lying to you. The fact that I can say all this means I've made a huge decision. Wang Lin didn't respond. He only tightened his grip on the painting scroll, as if holding not a painting, but a glimmer of hope. On the nearby cliff, the frost grew thicker, faintly glowing with crystalline light, and the suction force also grew stronger. Wang Lin didn't know how long had passed. The deep pit seemed endless. No matter how much he fell, it always seemed to stretch on, shrouded in endless darkness. Almost there, almost there. The woman's voice trembled from within the painting scroll. At this point, the suction force was immense. Wang Lin's body howled as it was pulled down, racing toward the bottom. How long it took, perhaps a day, a month, or perhaps even a year, he couldn't say. In the pitch-black space below, a brief corridor appeared. At the end of the corridor was a massive vortex, slowly rotating. The force of suction emanated from it. Strangely, the suction seemed sealed here, giving no sensation of being drawn in at all. Only when the force reached a certain range did it suddenly intensify. The moment Wang Lin saw the vortex, a strange force emanated from the painting scroll, entering his body and condensing in his eyes. In that instant, his gaze seemed to pierce through the vortex and see within. A vast starry sky, countless cultivation stars. It looked like another world. This is... Wang Lin stared at the vortex, deeply moved. In that moment, he regained his calm. My homeland. Luotian Star Domain. The woman in the painting scroll whispered. The woman in the painting trembled, as if trying to turn around, but an invisible force kept her from looking back. Home. Wang Lin fell silent. After a while, he fixed his gaze on the scroll and spoke in a deep voice. I've brought you here. It's your turn now. The woman in the scroll sighed softly, her voice drifting through the air like a faint echo. Would you like to hear a story? Wang Lin furrowed his brow, his expression darkening as he coldly replied, Not interested. The woman paused, as if laughing bitterly, then continued. Long ago, the entire world, even the entire starry sky, had a mysterious star domain, where it was the sacred land of all cultivators. It was known as the Immortal Domain. Many rumors about the Immortal Domain have disappeared with the passing of time, and no one can be sure whether it truly exists. But there is one legend that has been passed down. This domain abandoned the cultivators, left this starry sky, and vanished. What remained were the four paths that led to the Immortal Domain. For countless millennia, these paths have become places where high-level cultivators ascend, turning into another immortal realm. These realms are wind, rain, thunder, and lightning. Each of the four immortal realms corresponds to a star domain. Above our Luotian star domain is the Thunder Immortal Realm. The Tianyi Pearl doesn't belong to the Alliance star domain. It first appeared in our Luotian star domain. No one knows how it came into being, but the moment it appeared, all the peak cultivators in our Luotian star domain felt the presence of the ancient immortal domain. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed as he coldly stared at the painting scroll, saying nothing. Obviously, that trace of ancient immortal domain aura drove all the peak cultivators mad. But, in the end, the pearl mysteriously vanished. Countless years later, we gathered some clues. The pearl, for some unknown reason, appeared in the Rain Immortal Realms Alliance star domain. A cold gleam flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. Pointing upward, he said, That ancient teleportation array, it was you who set it up, wasn't it? The woman in the scroll fell silent, and after a long time, she shook her head, saying, I did not enter the Alliance star domain from here, but that teleportation array indeed came from a cultivator of our Luotian star domain. That teleportation array is now abandoned. It cannot be activated unless there's a Luotian stone. Even immortal jade won't work. I've told you everything I know about the Tianyi Pearl. As for the beautiful soul fragment inside, my ancestor can help you. If you take me through this vortex into the Luotian star domain and send me back home, I will ask my ancestor to help you revive that soul fragment." Wang Lin's gaze was cold as he stared at the woman in the scroll. After a long while, he withdrew his gaze. The moment he saw the Luotian star domain, he regained his usual calm. The woman's words clearly meant she was trying to lead him into the Luotian star domain. "What sect do you belong to in the Luotian star domain?" Wang Lin asked calmly. "The Luotian star domain is different from your alliance star domain. There are no sects, only cultivation families. My family resides on Donglin Star, the Xiang family." Wang Lin seemed to ponder for a moment, then said, "This vortex, with my cultivation, I can't pass through it, can I?" The woman in the scroll shook her head gently. "You have the Tianyi Pearl, so you can pass through." A barely noticeable cold glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. The woman's certainty suggested that she was hiding many things and hadn't told him everything. Wang Lin stopped wasting time on her. With a swift motion, he reached out and grabbed the scroll. Leaping into the air, he didn't head toward the vortex, but instead floated upward. "You don't want that beautiful soul fragment to be revived?" the woman in the scroll immediately asked. Wang Lin remained silent, not saying a word. His body moved swiftly, scattering his divine sense and physical body in the suction force, merging with it as he floated upward. Along the way, no matter how the woman in the scroll spoke, Wang Lin remained silent. He didn't know how much time had passed, but far in the distance, he saw a protruding stone. On the opposite side of the stone was a rift. He flickered, landing on the large stone, and lowered his head to closely examine the teleportation array on it. With a movement of his primordial spirit, he immediately released a flash of lightning that traveled down his legs and into the stone. The sound of cracking echoed within the stone as azure lightning surged across its surface. Then, with a loud explosion, it shattered into pieces, being sucked into the force and falling away. Without the large stone, the place now appeared the same as above and below, no longer holding any peculiarities. With a shake of his hand, Wang Lin grasped the painting scroll and entered a rift 20 feet away. Upon entering, Wang Lin flicked his right hand, and the painting scroll immediately flew out, embedding itself deeply into the wall. His eyes gleamed coldly as he formed hand seals, releasing a series of restrictions that instantly surrounded the scroll. "Why do you do this? Without my help, the lingering soul within your heavenly reversal will never be revived." A woman's slightly anxious voice came from within the scroll. Silence. Wang Lin's eyes flashed with lightning, and his hand seals grew faster, densely surrounding the entire rift. He had examined this painting scroll as he ascended. With his strength, he couldn't destroy it, but the woman inside knew too many secrets. Since he couldn't kill her, he would seal her away forever. "Wang Lin, without me, the lingering soul within your bead will never be revived, now or forever." A malicious voice rang out from within the painting scroll, like the howling of a chilling wind. Wang Lin's face darkened, and his hands sealed even faster. Gradually, the hateful voice grew weaker and weaker, eventually disappearing completely. This sealing process lasted for months, and Wang Lin hardly rested. Countless restrictions merged together, forming a terrifyingly large seal. Months later, Wang Lin stepped back, leaving the rift. His gaze flickered, and with a slap of his right hand, the rift, 1 foot wide, collapsed, burying the painting scroll deep within. From the outside, nothing seemed unusual, and no one would know that a woman was sealed inside the painting scroll. Even if someone came here, distracted by the suction force, they wouldn't have time to examine the walls, which appeared identical all around. With the sealing complete, Wang Lin moved without leaving immediately. Instead, he leaned against a distant spot, closing his eyes in silence. Time passed slowly, and several days later, a faint fluctuation emanated from the sealed location of the painting scroll. As soon as the fluctuation emerged from the rift, Wang Lin, who had been silently meditating from afar, suddenly opened his eyes, and a sinister smile appeared on his lips. His hands formed seals, and a shadow appeared behind him, shooting toward the location where the rift had been. "Seal!" Wang Lin shouted. Immediately, the Immortal Guard puppet formed hand seals, and a mighty seal appeared on its hands. In the instant the fluctuation emerged, it pressed down upon it. Faintly, Wang Lin heard a muffled groan. His eyes flashed, and along with the Immortal Guard puppet, he cast one restriction after another, penetrating the wall and directly reaching the deep interior. After completing these actions, Wang Lin withdrew the Immortal Guard and continued to sit in silence, eyes closed. Months later, the fluctuation appeared again. What awaited the woman was yet another thorough sealing. After the third sealing, Wang Lin thought for a moment, then stopped lingering here and soared into the air. The woman inside the painting scroll must have once possessed great cultivation. But now, she is sealed inside the scroll. Originally, she would likely never escape, but back in the immortal ruins, she absorbed the three ancestors' talisman beasts, which gave her a trace of divine power. I didn't look into it, but over the years, this woman learned many secrets. Had it not been for the special location in this abyss, she probably wouldn't have revealed everything, instead continuing to silently wait for her recovery. Leaving such a hidden danger by my side would undoubtedly bring harm in the future. She led me to the Luotian star domain, but there must have been another motive. As Wang Lin ascended, these thoughts quietly passed through his mind. She only told me a fraction of the truth, but the Luotian star domain is likely real. Otherwise, she wouldn't have asked me to bring her there. His gaze flickered as he floated upward. The suction here was strong, and although Wang Lin had become part of the suction force, he could still feel the pressure above, hindering his ascent. Taking a deep breath, he slapped his storage pouch, and immediately, the 7 stars sword formation flew out, surrounding his body and generating substantial thrust, propelling him rapidly upward. The Xiang family of Donglin Star may not have a direct connection with this woman, but they should be able to learn her identity. Since she said her family's ancestor could revive Xun'er, whether it's true or not, it's worth investigating. Without this woman following me, if I go to the Luotian star domain, no one will know I possess the heavenly reversal bead. Moreover, in the land of demonic spirits, where danger lurks everywhere, people like Tian Yunzi and others might arrive at any moment. If they do, I'm bound to cross paths with them. In that case, facing these beings of unimaginable cultivation, I won't be able to resist. Wang Lin ascended, his gaze flashing with a cold gleam. However, since the last token is in my hands, without me, they will never enter the true cave mansion. In that case, their journey to the land of demonic spirits will be useless. Even if they learned from the greedy wolf that the token is in my possession, even if they finally confirm this matter, by that time, I will have already left for the Luotian star domain. Once my cultivation improves and I am able to converse on equal terms with Tian Yunzi and others, I will return to uncover the secrets of this cave mansion. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed brightly. But before that, there are some things to handle. Once I leave, I don't know when I will return. Wang Lin sighed lightly. In this deep pit, the 7-star sword formation had gradually lost its effectiveness. A shadow flickered behind Wang Lin, and the Immortal Guard puppet transformed into a black hurricane, speeding up once again as it carried Wang Lin. They were getting closer and closer to the pit's exit. A large group of mosquito beasts roared at the exit. Among them, one mosquito beast, completely purple, its previously dim eyes suddenly brightened. In an instant, it surged forward, knocking aside several of its companions flying ahead of it. At the mouth of the abyss, it stared downward, letting out a series of high-pitched howls. The joy in the howls was indescribable. The mosquito beast's body trembled, and as it flapped its wings, its body darted like lightning, charging straight into the abyss without hesitation. At this moment, even though all the mosquito beasts around it called out, they could not make the purple mosquito beast turn back. It charged straight for the abyss below. As Wang Lin ascended, he immediately heard the howls above. Looking up, he saw the mosquito beast that he hadn't seen for decades. Upon seeing Wang Lin, the beast's eyes revealed surprise. It howled joyously around Wang Lin, as though a child returning home after many years, reunited with its family. It excitedly flew under Wang Lin, lifting him as it soared. With the hurricane created by Wang Lin's Immortal Guard puppet, they shot out of the abyss. As they flew out, Wang Lin let out a deep sigh of relief. The reason for his smooth escape, aside from blending with the suction force, was the 7 stars sword, the Immortal Guard puppet, and the weakening suction inside the deep pit. The suction in this pit was erratic, sometimes strong, sometimes weak. If it had been at its peak strength, even with all his advantages, it would have been hard to escape. After flying out on the mosquito beast, Wang Lin immediately saw thousands of mosquito beasts around him, each of them glaring at him with bright red eyes and exuding a strong, murderous intent. Wang Lin furrowed his brow. The number of mosquito beasts had decreased by more than half compared to years ago. It was likely due to the changes that occurred during the battle between the greedy wolf and Xun'er, which caused a significant reduction in their numbers. I wonder what kind of changes took place. Wang Lin pondered for a moment, then pressed his right hand onto the head of the mosquito beast beneath him, his divine sense flowing. Immediately, a series of images flashed in Wang Lin's divine sense. During the battle between Xun'er and the greedy wolf, midway through the fight, two cultivators, a man and a woman, appeared at the exit of the Fire Demon County. These two cultivators were incredibly powerful. With just a single grasp, they captured the greedy wolf. As for Xun'er, he too was captured by the man and woman using their divine powers. However, their actions did not seem malicious. Upon seeing Xun'er, the man revealed a look of sorrow and nostalgia. The mosquito beasts were not wiped out, but most of them had been taken by the couple's divine abilities. If it hadn't been for Wang Lin's mosquito beasts reacting quickly and changing their bodies in an unusual way, blending in with the ordinary mosquito beasts, they too might have been taken away. Wang Lin withdrew his divine sense from the mosquito beast, and his face darkened. After a moment of silence, he patted the mosquito beast, which immediately howled and changed direction, flying toward the Water Demon County's entrance rather than the Fire Demon County's exit. With Wang Lin's avatar suction force, any place could serve as an exit. At the tidal entrance of the Water Demon County, a purple light suddenly shot out and transformed into a mosquito beast in midair. Wang Lin sat calmly atop it, his expression grim. The moment the purple light appeared, more than 2,000 mosquito beasts followed, roaring and surrounding Wang Lin. All their eyes fixed on the purple mosquito beast, and their screeches grew louder. The eyes of Wang Lin's mosquito beast showed determination, and it howled again, seemingly responding. The surrounding mosquito beast showed an even stronger reluctance, occasionally glancing at Wang Lin, their murderous intent intensifying. Wang Lin's gaze flashed as he stood up. Lightning radiated from his essence spirit, enveloping him as if surrounded by electric light. His eyes now resembled flashes of lightning, coldly scanning his surroundings. Feeling Wang Lin's demeanor, the mosquito beast beneath him let out a fierce howl, its voice carrying a strong pressure, forcing the surrounding mosquito beasts to slowly scatter. Wang Lin took out a storage pouch, opened a gap, and looked around at the surrounding mosquito beasts. The swarm of mosquito beasts was eerily silent for a long time. Eventually, one of them immediately flew out, transforming into a streak of gray light as it entered a storage pouch. Soon after, more mosquito beasts followed suit. However, not all of them chose to enter the pouch. About 2/3 remained still, quietly watching as Wang Lin and their king departed, disappearing into the horizon. After a while, they all simultaneously cried out in mourning. Slowly, their bodies began to collapse as they severed their own heart veins, falling from midair into the tidal entrance below. In the distance, the mosquito beast under Wang Lin trembled. It turned slowly, gazing sorrowfully at the direction of the tidal abyss. Wang Lin sighed softly, rubbing the mosquito beast's head with his right hand. From his understanding of this creature, Wang Lin knew that unless it was a juvenile, an adult mosquito beast could never be tamed. Those that entered the storage pouch were all juveniles, while the ones choosing to sever themselves were all adults. In the mosquito beast's world, if a king abandons them, the only fate awaiting them is death, unless a new king emerges. The mosquito beast's despair tugged at Wang Lin's heart. He floated into the air, placing the mosquito beast into his pouch, allowing it to be reunited with the hundreds of its kind, along with the thunder frog for companionship. Only this way could it begin to recover from its sorrow. In the air, Wang Lin looked up at the blue sky and white clouds. It had been a long time since he had seen the sky. After a brief silence, he tapped the storage pouch, and a crystal appeared in his hand. Focusing his divine sense into the crystal, it immediately emitted a radiant glow, enveloping him. In an instant, both the light and Wang Lin disappeared. When he reappeared, Wang Lin found himself inside his cave abode, facing the many unbroken seals within. His gaze flickered, and he muttered, "By the time I return, I will have cracked all these seals and uncovered the secrets of this cave." Taking a deep breath, he formed a seal with his hands and sealed the cave. He then destroyed the teleportation array, ensuring that no one could enter the cave again, not even the blood ancestor. Once done, Wang Lin turned back, casting a deep gaze at the cave, where the cave spirit had manifested at the entrance. It silently watched him, offering no words. Wang Lin turned away, clutching the crystal, and left. Outside the soul refining tribe in the heavenly demon province, Wang Lin's figure appeared. As he stepped in, all the tribe members froze for a moment, but immediately, they expressed surprise and knelt in worship. Not taking the gathered souls from the tribe, Wang Lin called in Shursan and Ouyang Hua into the treasure pagoda, gave them some instructions, and left behind a few cultivation methods. He even included the giant demon clan's follow-up techniques for Shursan. Afterward, he stepped into the void and departed. As he left, Shursan knelt, offering several kowtows to Wang Lin. Ouyang Hua did the same. Both of them revealed sorrow in their eyes. Although Wang Lin had not spoken a word, they both sensed that it was unlikely they would ever meet again in this lifetime. In the heavenly demon province, within the demon general's mansion, Shi Xiao sat cross-legged, meditating. Beside him, Chen Tao was also practicing his breathing techniques. After years of healing with medicine, his cultivation had recovered to mid-stage of ascendancy and even slightly improved. Though he was still far from the late stage, it was no longer distant. After a moment, Shi Xiao opened his eyes, a glint flashing within them. Chen Tao, beside him, also opened his eyes, deep and profound. Chen Tao, tomorrow I will report to the Demon Emperor and recommend you for the position of Demon General. I'll also have you go to the Dragon Pool to comprehend the arts. Though it's not true inheritance, the experience there will benefit you greatly, Shi Xiao said calmly. Chen Tao thanked him, saying, "Tomorrow, I shall address you as Deputy Commander." Shi Xiao smiled proudly. That position should have been mine over 100 years ago. It was just taken from me by Mo Lihai using despicable means. Without that contemptible Wang Lin, what is Mo Lihai worth? Chen Tao glanced at Shi Xiao and said flatly, "Wang Lin is my junior brother." Shi Xiao raised an eyebrow and sneered. "When our heavenly demon province fought the flame demon province, where was your junior brother? While the flame demon province was left empty, he stole our glory. Though he helped the ancient demon lord, that's something we should not be proud of. Moreover, this man has been missing for many years. His bones are likely cold by now. You may remember him as your junior brother, but perhaps he's long forgotten that you are his elder brother." Chen Tao fell silent, saying nothing. A hint of mockery appeared in Shi Xiao's eyes as he said, "I called him contemptible, but that's being too kind. If he's still alive, I will kill him, so he understands how to truly regard his position as a cultivator in this land of demonic spirits." "Is that so?" A cold voice slowly echoed from the surrounding emptiness. Shi Xiao froze for a moment, but immediately his expression darkened. He looked around, shouting, "Who is pretending to be mysterious? Come out before this commander." Chen Tao beside him had a flash of understanding and stared at the sky. He saw a black figure appear in the sky, with a bright moon behind him. The person walked slowly, stepping on the moonlight. Lightning crackled around him, emitting loud snapping sounds, making him look quite striking. You are Wang Lin." Chen Tao's eyes narrowed as he recognized the identity of the shadow. "Such boldness, daring to invade my estate. Leave within 3 breaths, or else be struck down." Shi Xiao looked coldly at the figure, his eyes flashing with killing intent. His cultivation had increased dramatically in recent years, now reaching the early stage of Ascendant Realm, with a dense aura of demonic power in his body. Wang Lin landed on the ground, calmly looking at Shi Xiao, and slowly spoke. "I once promised someone to take your life, and today, I have come to fulfill that promise." Shi Xiao's eyes erupted with murderous intent, and his body blurred into a shadow, rushing toward Wang Lin. As he moved, his hands formed seals, preparing to unleash his divine arts. Wang Lin's body remained still, but under the moonlight, the shadow behind him immediately turned fierce, extending outward and suddenly transforming into a dark figure. It burst out of the ground, crossing paths with Shi Xiao, who was charging forward. Chen Tao's expression changed drastically. He was about to step forward, but the black shadow that had passed by Shi Xiao revealed a sharp, piercing gaze. Under that gaze, Chen Tao's body trembled, his divine sense shrinking, and he was forced to halt his steps. Cold sweat poured down his forehead. Yin and yang deficiency and fulfillment. Chen Tao's eyes showed astonishment. The shadow retreated beneath Wang Lin's feet, once again becoming a mere silhouette. Shi Xiao, on the other hand, crashed to the ground with a thud. His eyes remained open, still filled with killing intent, but his life force, everything within him, had shattered. Wang Lin turned and left. Under the bright moon, his figure seemed to walk on the moonlight, his clothes fluttering, his hair flying, gradually growing farther and farther away. "Be careful, master." Chen Tao heard Wang Lin's voice echoing in his ears. He stood dazed, staring at the sky, unable to speak for a long time. In the land of demonic spirits, Wang Lin had handled all the trivial matters and appeared at the entrance to the tidal abyss. He glanced back at the earth, and then his gaze turned toward the sky. His eyes seemed to penetrate the heavens, continuously rising, eventually breaking through the sky's boundary, extending all the way to the East Sea. Outside the East Sea Demon Spirit Gate, Tian Yunzi, Ling Tianho, Blood Ancestor, and 7 or 8 elders stood suddenly. They were waiting for Ling Tianho to open the Demon Spirit Gate. Just then, Tian Yunzi let out a soft sound, his eyes narrowing slightly as he looked at the gate. They had entered the Demon Spirit Gate several decades earlier than planned. This was all because Tian Yunzi, while meditating over a decade ago, had suddenly felt an alarming sense of unease. This sensation was one he hadn't experienced in tens of thousands of years. This feeling came from the land of demonic spirits, from the imprint left on a disciple named Wang Lin all those years ago. In that moment, the imprint had been forcefully expelled. This was not the first time an imprint had been expelled. Long ago, a disciple named Sun Yun had also accomplished this. Tian Yunzi wasn't the only one feeling uneasy. Blood Ancestor shared the same discomfort. His unease stemmed from his daughter, Yao Shishua. As time passed, the feeling grew stronger. At his level of cultivation, such unease could not be ignored. Thus, when Tian Yunzi proposed entering the land of demonic spirits earlier than planned, Blood Ancestor was the first to agree. Yao Shishua was his only daughter, his only family. For her, he would sacrifice everything. Similarly, Ling Tianho felt a deep, hidden anger. 9 of the 12 life lamps of the sword prodigies had already gone out. His fury was constantly suppressed, and he planned to find Greedy Wolf in the land of demonic spirits and have a good talk with him. At this moment, the 3 of them did not know that all the troubles tormenting these powerful cultivators came from a single person. Ling Tianho slapped his hand down, opening the Demon Spirit Gate. With a flick of his sleeve, he stepped forward into the gate.